Welcome to German public transport like a matatu, but different. Okay, imagine this. You're in Germany and you need to get around. Forget matatus for a second. Germans are all about efficiency. Think of their public transport as a well-oiled, punctual machine. Trains, buses, trams, they all run like clockwork. Seriously, these guys could time a snail race and make it boringly accurate. The first thing you need to know is that tickets are king. No sneaking onto a bus here. You buy a ticket boarding. You can get them from machines at stations, online, or even some shops. And don't forget to validate it. There are little machines on buses and trams and at train stations. No validated ticket? Get ready for a fine that'll make your eyes water. Now, the good news is that German public transport is pretty affordable, especially if you're staying for a while. They've got all sorts of options. Single tickets, day passes, weekly, monthly, you name it. Figure out what works best for your travel style and budget. But here's the real kicker. It actually works. The trains and buses mostly run on time. And if there's a delay, they'll actually tell you about it. Imagine that. No more Kenyan style, just wait. It's coming for hours on end. All right, let's talk about Deutsche Bahn, DB. This is your long-distance travel buddy. Think of it as the SGR of Germany, except it goes everywhere. Big cities, small towns, even other countries. DB connects them all. They've got these things called ICE trains. ICE stands for Intercity Express, but let's be honest, it sounds way cooler than it actually is. Picture a regular train but faster, like really fast. These bad boys will get you from Berlin to Munich quicker than you can say Oktoberfest. Now, if you're on a tight budget, don't worry. DB has cheaper options too. Regional trains might not be as flashy, but they'll get you where you need to go. Think of them as the matatus of the train world. A little slower, maybe a bit crowded, but they get the job done. And here's a pro tip: book your tickets in advance, especially for long journeys. You can do it all online or through their app. Trust me, it's way less stressful than trying to snag a ticket at the last minute. Plus, you might even score a sweet discount. Okay, time to tackle the city slickers, the S-Bahn and U-Bahn. These are your underground, U-Bahn and overground S-Bahn train systems. Think of them as the matatu stages of the German train world. They crisscross cities like a spider web, getting you to every nook and cranny. The first time you see the map, you might freak out. Don't worry, we've all been there. Just take a deep breath, find your starting point and your destination, and follow the lines. It's actually pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Now here's a little trick. Look for the numbers and letters on the trains and platforms. The U1 train will always be the U1 train, no matter what station you're at. No more asking for directions like a lost tourist. Oh, and one more thing, hold on tight. These trains can pick up speed pretty quickly. You don't want to end up sprawled on the floor like you just got off a roller coaster. Ah, the trusty bus. It's like that reliable friend who always picks up their phone, even at 3 a.m. When the S-Bahn and U-Bahn are closed for the night, or you need to get to those areas they don't quite reach, the bus is there for you. German buses are clean, efficient, and usually on time. They might not be as glamorous as their train counterparts, but they're the workhorses of the public transport system. Plus, you get to see more of the city above ground. Just remember, you need to flag down the bus like you're hailing a taxi. Don't just stand there and expect it to stop automatically. And once you're on board, don't forget to validate your ticket. Those sneaky ticket inspectors love a good bus ride. Section 5. Tramtastic, gliding through the city. Trams, or streetcars as some might call them, are like the cool kids of the public transport world. They're a mix of retro charm and modern efficiency, gliding through the city streets like they own the place. Think of them as a happy medium between buses and trains. They're bigger than buses, so they can carry more people, but they're also quieter and often run on dedicated tracks, so they're not stuck in traffic. One thing to watch out for is that trams often share the road with cars and bikes. So when you're getting on or off, be careful not to step out into traffic. Those German drivers can be a bit intense. Section 6. Two wheels, endless possibilities. Biking in Germany. Germans love their bikes, like really love their bikes. And who can blame them? Germany is a cyclist's paradise with dedicated bike paths, bike lanes, and even traffic lights just for bikes. If you're staying in a city, renting a bike is a great way to get around. It's cheap, it's good exercise, and you don't have to worry about finding parking. Plus, you can channel your inner Tour de France champion as you whiz past cars stuck in traffic. Just remember, even though you're on two wheels, you still have to follow the rules of the road. That means stopping at red lights, signaling your turns, and not riding on the sidewalk, unless it's a designated bike path. Section 7. To drive or not to drive? That is the question. Now, you might be thinking, why bother with all this public transport when I can just drive? And hey, if you're planning on exploring the German countryside, renting a car can be a great option. But here's the thing. Driving in German cities can be a bit hairy. The roads are narrow, the traffic can be crazy, and parking is like trying to find a unicorn in a haystack. Plus, did I mention the whole driving on the right side of the road thing? So, unless you're a seasoned pro behind the wheel, my advice is to stick to public transport in the cities. Save yourself the stress and let someone else do the driving. Section 8. Hailing a ride, taxis and ride-sharing apps. Okay, so maybe you're tired of trains, buses, and bikes. You just want to get from point A to point B without any hassle. Well, my friend, you're in luck. Germany has taxis and ride-sharing apps, just like the rest of the world. Taxis are easy to spot. They're usually cream-colored and have a big taxi sign on top. You can hail them on the street, find them at taxi stands, or even book them in advance. And if you're a fan of the convenience of ride-sharing apps, you'll be happy to know that Uber and Bolt both operate in Germany. Just download the app, request a ride, and off you go. Just remember, prices can vary depending on the time of day, traffic, and demand. So it's always a good idea to check the fare estimate before you hop in. Section 9. Taking to the skies. Air travel in Germany. Germany is a major hub for air travel, with airports all over the country connecting you to destinations near and far. Think of it as the JKIA of Europe, but with more pretzels and less chaos. If you're planning on traveling long distances within Germany, flying can be a great option. It's faster than taking the train, and sometimes it can even be cheaper, especially if you book in advance. And of course, if you're flying internationally, you'll likely be landing at one of Germany's major airports. Just be prepared for the usual airport shenanigans: long lines, security checks, and the inevitable scramble for your luggage at the baggage carousel. Section 10. Essential tips for a smooth ride. Don't be that passenger. All right, my friend, you're almost ready to navigate German public transport like a pro. But before you go, here are a few essential tips to ensure a smooth and enjoyable ride. Validate your ticket. I know I've said it a million times, but it's important. Those fines are no joke. Plan your journey in advance. Use Google Maps, the DB Navigator app, or any other transportation app to figure out your route and check for any delays. Learn some basic German phrases. Even just a few words like thank you and excuse me can go a long way. Be on time. Germans are all about punctuality, and so should you be. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Most Germans are happy to help a lost tourist, even if their English isn't perfect. And most importantly, relax and enjoy the ride. German public transport might be different from what you're used to, but it's a great way to get around and experience the country like a local. Section 11. Useful apps and services, your digital travel buddies. In this day and age, there's an app for everything, and German public transport is no exception. Here are a few must-have apps and services that will make your life a whole lot easier. DB Navigator. This is your go-to app for all things Deutsche Bahn. You can check train schedules, buy tickets, and even see which platform your train is departing from. Google Maps, your trusty sidekick for navigating any city in the world. It works just as well in Germany, providing real-time public transport information, walking directions, and even bike routes. BVG, Berlin, MVG, Munich, HVV, Hamburg. Most major cities have their own transportation apps that provide specific information about local routes, schedules, and fares. Omio. This handy app lets you compare prices and book tickets for various transportation options, including trains, buses, and flights. With these apps at your fingertips, you'll be navigating German public transport like a pro in no time. Happy travels!